Good morning and welcome to the Money Matters Morning Show, where we talk all things faith, finances, and the freedom of good credit. And I'm your host, Nefateria Robinson. And you can follow me here on my business page at nefateriarobinson.com, as well as on Periscope and on Instagram at Nefateria Robinson and on Twitter at ACT with Nef. For those who this is your first time watching me, I always get started on the statistic and then I get into the topic for today. So according to Kaiser Health tracking poll, they said 45% of Americans say they have a difficult time paying an unexpected $500 medical expense. If you watched the episode yesterday, I kind of talked about how medical debt can impact your credit score. So today I'm going to talk about some ways to minimize it. And this, we will also continue this discussion on tomorrow as well. Today we're going to deal with just 3 of those ways. So 45% of Americans said that if they had a difficult time, they would have a difficult time paying an unexpected medical bill of $500. How many of you guys are in that same boat? If you had a medical bill that came and was $500, you would not be able to pay it. So we're going to talk about ways to try to minimize that and try to avoid those kind of situations from happening. So during this episode of the Money Matters Morning Show, we can catch here on my Facebook business page every weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch it here live. You can also go to my YouTube channel and catch it there as well. So first of all, I want you to know that how many of you have good insurance, so you feel like every time you go to the doctor and you pay your copay, that's the end of it. I pay my copay, I'm covered, I got good insurance, I have this provider or that provider, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield, I have United Healthcare, I have, whoever that you may have, and you feel like, okay, I'm covered. I don't have to worry about this because my insurance, all I gotta do is pay my copays and I am good. And so what happens is, then you go to check your credit report and you realize, well, where's this medical debt? I have insurance. Why is this being applied to my credit report in a negative way? Well, most of the time it's because you did not understand what all was covered in your insurance policy. You did not, I remember one time I worked at United Healthcare and I was in their customer service, and we would have clients that called all the time that was inquiring about what their coverage was. It was our job to make sure that they were fully knowledgeable what was covered, what was not covered. A lot of times people go to the emergency room because they feel like they get the best care and they can get everything taken care of at one time, but they don't realize if it's not deemed as an emergency based on their insurance, their health insurance, then it could cost them really big when it comes to their medical bills, because if the insurance company does not see it as a medical emergency based on what they define as a medical emergency, then you could be hit with a big insurance bill. So just make sure you are well knowledgeable and thorough and know what your insurance does cover when it comes to that. I remember when I worked at United Healthcare, it was only certain things were considered emergencies. If whatever happened to you and it was deemed necessary for you to go to the emergency room, yes. But if you just had a cold or hurt knee or something like that, and you just say, well, you know what, I don't want to go to no urgent care. I want to go to an emergency room because they're going to do all kind of x-rays, all kind of tests, and I'm going to, they're going to make sure that they find out exactly what's wrong with me. With United Healthcare, they wouldn't consider that an emergency, and you would have to be responsible for that visit to the hospital's emergency room. So one of the tips I want to share with you guys today is to make sure that you stay on top of your medical bills. Like I was telling you earlier, sometimes we think because we got copays or we got deductibles and other things, and we consider ourselves having a good insurance policy that is covered. But sometimes some things are not covered, and you just need to make sure that you're following up with your healthcare providers or the doctor's offices or whoever, and make sure that you don't have a balance once you leave the appointment that you had. So just make sure that you're checking on that and making sure you don't have any kind of balances. One thing you can do is set a reminder in your phone or on your calendar, something that you look at frequently, that says check balance. So a week or a month after you have that medical appointment, you just go ahead and set that reminder so that you can call and say, hey, I just had a recent appointment on this date. I'm just trying to check and make sure that I don't have any balance or anything that I need to pay, that my visit was covered by my insurance. So that is one thing that you can do to kind of stay on top of that. Plus, nowadays, you have a lot more time before that medical debt is reported to the credit bureaus. They normally wait until about 100 days 180 days after it has occurred. So that gives you more time to make arrangements with the medical facility if necessary, or get it paid off in its entirety before it even have an opportunity to get reported to the credit bureau. Good morning to you. So in number 2, I want you to review your EOBs, which is basically your explanation of benefits. That is what generally when you go to have an appointment, you'll get that. That'll come from your health insurance or health provider. They'll send you an explanation of benefits. It's called EOB, and it'll break down what was charged, what they covered, and what possibly is your patient responsibility. So just make sure that if you do receive those, read them very carefully. If you have any questions, call your customer service line for your medical insurance provider, and they should be able to explain it to you if it's something that you don't understand. Utilize those customer service reps. They are trained to understand that insurance inside and out, because we had several months and weeks of training when I worked for United Healthcare, so we could be able to explain to the customers how their insurance coverage worked, what was covered, what was not covered, and things of that nature. So take the moment and find out if you don't understand the explanation of benefits that you receive. Go ahead and make a phone call to your customer service of that insurance provider and find out if there any patient responsibility and what was covered and what was not, and if you have to pay any of the money as well. And my third tip for today on ways to minimize your impact of your medical debt is ask for an itemized bill. It's a lot better to know exactly what you will pay for, every little thing that you was paid for, so it helps you to understand what this big lump sum is. And it also can help you decide what things you want and what things you don't want when you go to your appointments. We always was advocates to let our people know, the clients that call, subscribers that call when I worked at the United Healthcare, they say, hey, take control of your medical insurance, take control of your appointments, know what's covered, know what's not, know what look for all the other resources they have. We had a nurse line where you can call and get some nurse care over the phone, things like that, just so to make sure that you were incurring any medical debt unnecessarily. So just make sure that you take advantage of any tools that your insurance company offer you to help you to kind of do whatever you need to take care of yourself medically, or if you do have to go to the hospital, you know what's covered, you know what questions to ask. We always told our subscribers to make sure they asking, are they having new patients? Are they in network with whatever? Because there is a difference between a provider that's in network and providers out of network as far as fees and what they charge. So those are some of the questions. But like I said, you contact your customer service rep for your health insurance, and they should be able to provide you and guide you on the best way to make sure that what you're when you do have to have a medical appointment, what is covered and what is not, and what possibly could be your medical responsibility. So just to recap with you what we talked about today, we talked about 3 ways to minimize the impact of your medical debt. And the way number 1 is just to stay on top of it, just to make sure that when you go to the doctor, you're setting some type of reminder in place to check to see if you have any kind of patient responsibility from that visit. Number 2 was to make sure you're reading thoroughly your explanation of benefits. It's also called EOBs. If you have any questions about that, I always refer you back to your health insurance provider. Also, number 3, ask for itemized bills so you can kind of see the breakdown of what they charge you for. And so it makes it easier for you to understand that total lump sum. And tomorrow we will continue discussion of other ways that you can minimize the impact of your medical debt. You can catch me here every weekday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Money Matters Morning Show, where we talk all things faith, finances, and the freedom of good credit, as well as entrepreneurship. You catch it live here on my Facebook business page, so make sure that you're following me there. Also, if you have any questions when it comes to saving, budgeting, debt elimination, or credit, feel free to submit your question at bit.ly/askNEFR, and I will get your question answered here on the Money Matters Morning Show. Also, just in case you're having some credit challenges, if you're hiring a professional and you've had some credit challenges and you're looking for a done-for-you service, looking for somebody to be the liaison between you and the credit bureaus and possibly the creditors, I do offer that service to you. And if you're interested in that, you can schedule your free consultation. Just go to the link into the description. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.